Hello everyone. Thank you so much for clicking onto this video. I hope you all are having an amazing day. And today we have some special content for y'all. So if you are involved with the AI community in any sort of way, then you would definitely already know about this. If this is brand new to you, congratulations, because you are about to learn a lot of helpful information about what the future of OpenAI is going to look like. And OpenAI is the leading business in the industry, in the AI industry, and it's pretty crazy to see some of the stuff they're doing. And this DevDay was just released 2 days ago. So this is brand new and current, and you should walk away from this video with a lot of helpful information. So I don't want to waste any more of your time, so let's just get started.
Today, we've got about 2 million developers building on our API for a wide variety of use cases, doing amazing stuff. Over 92% of Fortune 500 companies building on our products. And we have about 100 million weekly active users now on ChatGPT. Okay, so now on to the new stuff, and we have got a lot. Today, we are launching a new model, GPT-4 Turbo. GPT-4 Turbo will address many of the things that you all have asked for. So let's go through what's new. We've got 6 major things to talk about for this part. Number 1, context length. A lot of people have tasks that require a much longer context length. GPT-4 supported up to 8K, and in some cases up to 32K context length. But we know that isn't enough for many of you and what you want to do. GPT-4 Turbo supports up to 128,000 tokens of context.
This is just insane. 128,000 tokens of context length. That is equivalent to around 300 pages of writing. Sam also goes on to mention that ChatGPT's long-form responses and content is a lot more effective and accurate now. As before, when you ask it to analyze a full-on prompt or to give you a long essay response, some of the results weren't great. So this is great to hear.
We've heard loud and clear that developers need more control over the model's responses and outputs. So we've addressed that in a number of ways. We have a new feature called JSON mode, which ensures that the model will respond with valid JSON. This has been a huge developer request. It'll make calling APIs much easier. The model is also much better at function calling. You can now call many functions at once.
So for you coders and developers out there, this news should excite you very much. But what is most interesting to me is just the way ChatGPT can now solve these problems. Before, you'd have to ask in specifics, what exactly you want. So you can see this example shows it perfectly. Raise my windows and turn the radio on, and it just doesn't do both tasks. But then now it easily does both tasks pretty much on its own.
All right, number 3, better world knowledge. You want these models to be able to access better knowledge about the world. So do we. So we're launching retrieval in the platform. You can bring knowledge from outside documents or databases into whatever you're building. We're also updating the knowledge cutoff. We are just as annoyed as all of you, probably more, that GPT-4's knowledge about the world ended in 2021. We will try to never let it get that out of date again. GPT-4 Turbo has knowledge about the world up to April of 2023, and we will continue to improve that over time.
Again, this is just another dub coming from OpenAI. And now we can access and talk about more recent information.
Number 4, new modalities. Surprising no one, DALL-E 3, GPT-4 Turbo with Vision, and the new text-to-speech model are all going into the API today. GPT-4 Turbo can now accept images as inputs via the API, can generate captions, classifications, and analysis. For example, Be My Eyes uses this technology to help people who are blind or have low vision with their daily tasks like identifying products in front of them. And with our new text-to-speech model, you'll be able to generate incredibly natural-sounding audio from text in the API with 6 preset voices to choose from. I'll play an example.
Did you know that Alexander Graham Bell, the eminent inventor, was enchanted by the world of sounds? His ingenious mind led to the creation of the graphophone, which etched sounds onto wax, making voices whisper through time.
This is much more natural than anything else we've heard out there. Voice can make apps more natural to interact with and more accessible. It also unlocks a lot of use cases like language learning and voice assistance. Speaking of new modalities, we're also releasing the next version of our open source speech recognition model, Whisper v3 today, and it'll be coming soon to the API. It features improved performance across many languages, and we think you're really going to like it.
Now, if you weren't already hooked on what this guy's saying, then you should be now. So basically, with the new ChatGPT, we can upload images through DALL-E 3, then we use a GPT-4 Turbo, and we also convert that into text-to-speech. All in just one API now. I mean, just think about that. You can literally it literally accepts images as inputs now. And for that text-to-speech, the 6 voices there sound very real. I've used a couple AI voice platforms like 11 Labs, and it's alright, but this one seems pretty damn real. I just wish the Whisper v3 would already be out, but that sounds like a great addition that will be added on in the future. And I mean, we're pretty close to just having, verbal conversation with these AIs, and like that's it. It'll do everything else for us.
So we're introducing Copyright Shield. Copyright Shield means that we will step in and defend our customers and pay the costs incurred if you face legal claims around copyright infringement, and this applies both to ChatGPT Enterprise and the API. And let me be clear, this is a good time to remind people, we do not train on data from the API or ChatGPT Enterprise ever. All right. There's actually one more developer request that's been even bigger than all of these. And so I'd like to talk about that now. And that's pricing. GPT-4 Turbo is the industry-leading model. It delivers a lot of improvements that we just covered, and it's a smarter model than GPT-4. We've heard from developers that there are a lot of things that they want to build, but GPT-4 just costs too much. They've told us that if we could decrease the cost by 20, 25%, that would be great, a huge leap forward. I'm super excited to announce that we worked really hard on this, and GPT-4 Turbo, a better model, is considerably cheaper than GPT-4. By a factor of 3x for prompt tokens, and 2x for completion tokens starting today. So the new pricing is 1 cent per 1,000 prompt tokens and 3 cents per 1,000 completion tokens. For most customers, that will lead to a blended rate more than 2.75 times cheaper to use for GPT-4 Turbo than GPT-4.
Now this just keeps getting better. The pricing is obviously amazing, although it's already kind of cheap as it is. But making it even cheaper for a better version is just amazing. But what I wanted to get into is the Copyright Shield, which sounds incredible. First, for you agency owners like myself, this is a huge green flag to see. The fact that OpenAI will cover all legal expenses lowers the threat or worry level of, legal information of our clients. Privacy is a big concern in the AI field, and, rightfully so. But to hear him come out with this obviously shows that, he trusts the privacy, rules that they have in place, and he wouldn't be offering this if these legal expenses would be coming left and right. He's probably expecting it to be very rare, and people like us shouldn't have to worry about this.
So a small one, ChatGPT now uses GPT-4 Turbo with all the latest improvements, including the latest knowledge cutoff, which will continue to update. That's all live today. It can now browse the web when it needs to, write and run code, analyze data, take and generate images, and much more. And we heard your feedback, that model picker, extremely annoying. That is gone starting today. You will not have to click around the drop-down menu. All of this will just work together.
Again, just kind of going over some of the features and how They now correlate, whereas before you had to go on different sites and like do everything manually. You could all do it in one. And some words I wanted to pick out from what he said is that you'll do it on its own. The ChatGPT will do it on its own. So, you don't even have to give it as specific instructions anymore, and it will write its own code. It will, do what is required to achieve the outcome that you desire, which is just insane.
We're thrilled to introduce GPTs. GPTs are tailored versions of ChatGPT for a specific purpose. You can build a GPT, a customized version of ChatGPT for almost anything, with instructions, expanded knowledge, and actions, and then you can publish it for others to use. And because they combine instructions, expanded knowledge, and actions, they can be more helpful to you. They can work better in many contexts, and they can give you better control. They'll make it easier for you to accomplish all sorts of tasks or just have more fun, and you'll be able to use them right within ChatGPT. You can, in effect, program a GPT with language just by talking to it.
So these GPTs that he's talking about is basically just a fancy way to say chatbots, which is really cool to see because this is what I've been doing for the past, 6 months or so. Everything's pointing towards like a no-code future. And again, he said you could do this by just talking to it. This is really going to make chatbots accessible to everyone. And you're not going to have to be an expert in the AI field to create these chatbots. You are going to need to know a little bit. But again, there's no code.
Our partners at code.org are working hard to expand computer science in schools. They've got a curriculum that is used by tens of millions of students worldwide. Code.org crafted Lesson Planner GPT to help teachers provide a more engaging experience for middle schoolers. If a teacher asks it to explain for loops in a creative way, it does just that. In this case, it'll do it in terms of a video game character, repeatedly picking up coins. Super easy to understand for an 8th grader. As you can see, this GPT brings together Code.org's extensive curriculum and expertise and lets teachers adapt it to their needs quickly and easily. Next, Canva has built a GPT that lets you start designing by describing what you want in natural language. If you say, make a poster for a DevDay reception this evening, and you give it some details, it'll generate a few options to start with by hitting Canva's APIs. Now, this concept may be familiar to some of you. We've evolved our plugins to be custom actions for GPTs. You can keep chatting with this to see different iterations, and when you see one you like, you can click through to Canva for the full design experience.
These two examples are perfect to just kind of express what these GPTs or chatbots are going to look like. And with everyone kind of building their own GPTs, there's going to be a lot of them out there, and I'm really excited to see, what the best ones are going to be, which ones will take over, and how they will help and affect all of our lives.
To start, where your GPT will live is on this upper left corner. I'm going to start with clicking on the Zapier AI actions. And on the right-hand side, you can see that's my calendar for today. So it's quite a day. I've already used this before, so it's actually already connected to my calendar. To start, I can ask, what's on my schedule for today? We build GPTs with security in mind. So before it performs any action or share data, it will ask for your permission. So right here, I'm going to say aloud. So GPT is designed to take in your instructions, make the decision on which capability to call to perform that action, and then execute that for you. So you can see right here, it's already connected to my calendar. It pulls into my information, and then I've also prompted it to identify conflicts on my calendar. So you can see right here, it actually was able to identify that. So it looks like I have something coming up. So what if I want to let Sam know that I have to leave early? So right here I say, let Sam know I gotta go, chasing GPUs. So with that, I'm gonna swap to my conversation with Sam, and then I'm gonna say, yes, please run that. Sam, did you get that?
I did.
Awesome.
I mean, this is literally like an Alexa in ChatGPT that can do so much more. All right, you can now easily check your schedule and appointment set, post on social media, send texts. Basically anything you do in your day-to-day lives, you can now put it to ChatGPT.
We've made it so that you can program a GPT just by having a conversation. We believe that natural language is going to be a big part of how people use computers in the future, and we think this is an interesting early example. So I'd like to show you how to build one. All right, so I want to create a GPT that helps give founders and developers advice when starting new projects. I'm going to go to create a GPT here, and this drops me into the GPT builder. I worked with founders for years at YC, and still, whenever I meet developers, the questions I get are always about how do I think about a business idea? Can you give me some advice? I'm going to see if I can build a GPT to help with that. So to start, GPT Builder asks me what I want to make. And I'm going to say, I want to help startup founders think through their business ideas and get advice. After the founder has gotten some advice, grill them on why they are not growing faster. All right, so to start off, I just tell the GPT a little bit about what I want here. And it's going to go off and start thinking about that, and it's going to write some detailed instructions for the GPT. It's also going to, let's see, ask me about a name. How do I feel about Startup Mentor? That's fine. That's good. So if I didn't like the name, of course, I could call it something else, but it's going to try to have this conversation with me and start there. And you can see here on the right in the preview mode that it's already starting to fill out the GPT, where it says what it does. It has some ideas of additional questions that I could ask. And you know what? So it just generated a candidate. Of course, I could regenerate that or change it, but I sort of like that. So I will say, that's great. And you see now that the GPT is being built out a little bit more as we go. Now, what I want this to do, how it can interact with users, I could talk about style here. But what I'm going to say is I am going to upload transcripts of some lectures about startups I have given. Please give advice based off of those. All right. So now it's going to go figure out how to do that. And I would like to show you the configure tab. So you can see some of the things that were built out here as we were going by the builder itself. And you can see that there's capabilities here that I could enable. I could add custom actions. These are all fine to leave. I'm going to upload a file. So here is a lecture that I picked that I gave with some startup advice. And I'm going to add that here. In terms of these questions, this is a dumb one. The rest of those are reasonable and very much things founders often ask. I'm going to add one more thing to the instructions here, which is be concise and constructive with feedback. All right, so again, if we had more time, I'd show you a bunch of other things. But this is like a decent start. And now we can try it out over on this preview tab. So I will say, what's a common question? What are three things to look for when hiring employees at an early stage startup? Now it's going to look at that document I uploaded. It'll also have, of course, all of the background knowledge of GPT-4. That's pretty good. Those are three things that I definitely have said many times. So with GPTs, we're letting people easily share and discover all the fun ways that they use ChatGPT with the world. You can make private GPTs, like I just did. Or you can share your creations publicly with a link for anyone to use. Or if you're on ChatGPT Enterprise, you can make GPTs just for your company. And later this month, we're going to launch the GPT store. You can list a GPT. Thank you. I appreciate that. You can list a GPT there, and we'll be able to feature the best and the most popular GPTs. Of course, we'll make sure that GPTs in the store follow our policies before they're accessible. Revenue sharing is important to us. We're going to pay people who build the most useful and the most used GPTs a portion of our revenue.
So here's what I was talking about with like seeing everyone else's GPTs. I wonder if people are gonna be able to sell them as their own eventually. Right now it looks like everything's gonna be free. And he did mention revenue sharing, so if you do make a top GPT that other people are using, then you will get a portion of the revenue. How much that will be, like I have no idea. So it's pretty cool. You kind of become a developer on OpenAI if you want to. Now this is going to be highly competitive as everyone's going to be making these, and I'm sure there's going to be developer teams out there working around the clock with like 10 plus people just pumping out GPTs every single day. So it's going to be hard to compete with that, but it's still a very cool idea.
But let's enhance this app by adding a very simple assistant to it. This is the screen. We're going to come back to it in a second. First, I'm going to switch over to the new assistants playground. Creating an assistant is easy. You just give it a name, some initial instructions, a model. In this case, I'll pick GPT-4 Turbo. And here, I'll also go ahead and select some tools. I'll turn on Code Interpreter and Retrieval and Save. And that's it. Our assistant is ready to go. Next, I can integrate with two new primitives of this assistance API, threads and messages. Let's take a quick look at the code. The process here is very simple. For each new user, I will create a new thread. And as these users engage with their assistant, I will add their messages to these threads. Very simple. And then I can simply run the assistant at any time to stream the responses back to the app. So we can return to the app and try that in action. If I say, hey, let's go to Paris. All right. That's it. With just a few lines of code, users can now have a very specialized assistant right inside the app. And I'd like to highlight one of my favorite features here, function calling. If you have not used it yet, function calling is really powerful. And as Sam mentioned, we're taking it a step further today. It now guarantees the JSON output with no added latency, and you can invoke multiple functions at once for the first time. So here, if I carry on and say, hey, what are the top 10 things to do? We're going to have the assistant respond to that again. And here, what's interesting is that the assistant knows about functions, including those to annotate the map that you see on the right. And so now all of these pins are dropping in real time here. Code Interpreter is now available today in the API as well. That gives the AI the ability to write and execute code on the fly, but even generate files. So let's see that in action. If I say here, hey, we'll be 4 friends staying at this Airbnb, what's my share of it plus my flights? All right. Now here, what's happening is that Code Interpreter noticed that it should write some code to answer this query. So now it's computing, the number of days in Paris, the number of friends. It's also doing some exchange rate calculation behind the scene to get this answer for us. Not the most complex math, but you get the picture. Imagine you're building a very complex finance app that's crunching countless numbers, plotting charts. So really any task that you'd normally tackle with code, then Code Interpreter will work great for you. While working on DevDay, I built a small custom assistant that knows everything about this event. But instead of having a chat interface while running around all day today, I thought, why not use voice instead? So let's bring my phone up on screen here so you can see it on the right. Awesome. So on the right, you can see a very simple Swift app that takes microphone input. And on the left, I'm actually going to bring up my terminal log so you can see what's happening behind the scenes. So let's give it a shot. Hey there, I'm on the keynote stage right now. Can you greet our attendees here at DevDay?
Hey everyone, welcome to DevDay. It's awesome to have you all here. Let's make it an incredible day.
Isn't that impressive? You have 6 unique and rich voices to choose from in the API, each speaking multiple languages, so you can really find the perfect fit for your app. And on my laptop here on the left, you can see the logs of what's happening behind the scenes too. So I'm using Whisper to convert the voice inputs into text, an assistant with GPT-4 Turbo, and finally the new TTS API to make it speak. But thanks to function calling, things get even more interesting when the assistant can connect to the internet and take real actions for users. So let's do something even more exciting here together. How about this? Hey, assistant, can you randomly select 5 DevDay attendees here and give them $500 in OpenAI credits?
Yes, checking the list of attendees. Done. I picked 5 DevDay attendees and added $500 of API credits to their account. Congrats to Christine M., Jonathan C., Stephen G., Luis K., and Suraj S.
I mean, that map example that he showed a minute ago is basically like a full-on like app almost. Like a full-on travel app could use that. And he did that very quickly and easily through ChatGPT. It's just insane. The Assistant API is a whole new avenue that just creates endless possibilities. And we're starting to see this voice-to-voice communicator that I mentioned earlier, which is still in beta, which I'm very excited to see. So we're gonna have our own Alexa, our own like Jarvis from Iron Man. That's probably a better example to use, Jarvis from Iron Man, and that sounds so cool. And again, like the code executor, the fact that it can write and execute code by itself that we saw in that map demonstration, insane. It's a game changer. So at the end here, he posted some screenshots of some of the main points that I also pointed out. Again, there's a lot going on, and this could be overwhelming at first, but although there might be a lot of features, I'm telling you right now, like everything to do here is very simple and easy to learn. And you don't need years and years of experience to accomplish any of these tasks, and it's only going to get better and easier as we go on. That's it for today's video. If you found it useful, then please feel free to like and subscribe. If you're looking to integrate AI into your business and would like to partner with me, you can contact my agency at EmergeCoreAI@gmail.com, or you can check out our website. If you have any questions or video recommendations on AI, then please feel free to drop them down below. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have an amazing day.